Hello, welcome back to Armchair Armory, and it's finished at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal 0, Newcastle United 0. This is a weird one. The first thing for me to say is that I think this kind of shows that we definitely need players. There's no doubt about that. I think we definitely need players. We definitely need to sign at least one or two this January transfer window. Mainly because it was clear that once we started, I don't think we played badly today, but after we did our usual thing of trying to of piling on the pressure very early, there wasn't much response after that. It was one of those games where all the connections didn't really add up, if that makes any sense, to the point of where we couldn't even, Arteta didn't even bring anyone on to kind of like change the game or anything like that. I think the only substitution that was made was Ben White off Tomiyasu, and that was it. But I wouldn't say that we played badly. I wouldn't say that we were terrible, or that we were that Newcastle deserved to win. And I'm pretty sure that there'll be at least one Newcastle fan I know that thinks that they were the better team. But I think the main thing is that Newcastle, credit to them, they defended really, really well, and they were very resilient to, our numerous waves of attacks. We were by far the better team. It's just that for some reason today, nothing could get through Newcastle's defence. And that's basically it. There wasn't really very much we could have done about that. But what it does show is that if the club thinks that there's a chance that we can win this league this season, then we do need more players. I think even to finish in the top four, which still looks good, I still think we would need players to shore that up. If you look at last season with Tottenham, I think the whole reason why Tottenham ended up in the top four in the end is because they went out and got Kulusevski and Bentancur. So I think we need to do the same thing. I think we need to go out there and get somebody like a Mudryk or a João Felix or another central midfielder or something like that, just to kind of cover, to come in as cover, at least until Gabriel Jesus is back. Eddie played well today, don't get me wrong, but he had a really good chance at the end, which was kicked away. It was footed away by Pope. But yeah, you can tell that at the same time, Eddie will probably have his on days and his off days. He doesn't necessarily give the same kind of hold up play and the same kind of like tenacity that Gabriel Jesus gives. He's very much more like a poaching striker. He gets on the end of. He's very good at turning in the box, and he gets on the end of things and that kind of stuff. So it's a very different way that we have to play, I think. He's done well so far, but I think today, it just didn't go for us today, unfortunately. And I'm a little bit disappointed because I was hoping that we'd get through this with the win, go through to playing Spurs on the 15th, potentially 10 points clear from Manchester City. But yeah, we're going to have to settle with 8. We now go on the first 11 will probably go on a break because we play we play Oxford United on Monday in the FA Cup. So that'll be interesting to see. I'm interested to see what Arteta's approach to the domestic to the FA Cup is actually. So that will be interesting to see what happens there. And it makes Spurs even bigger now. The one thing I wanted from this, really, when I knew it looked like we weren't going to win the game, I was like, just don't lose. Newcastle are kind of like on the up and coming at the moment, and you don't want to lose to a team that's on the up and coming at home. I just hope that this doesn't derail our confidence going into the North London derby, because that North London derby is huge. Yes, Spurs have been pretty poor since the restart. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to be up for it at White Hart Lane, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, when we play them in 2 weeks' time. So we've got to get back on track, and what a way to get back on track than against Spurs. Right, I'm going to leave it there. As I say, disappointing evening, but it wasn't a poor performance. I thought we played really, really well. Just the dots didn't connect this evening. Full credit to Newcastle. They defended really, really well. They're definitely showing their piece of climbing up the table, that they can hang with the big boys, as Rob Hawthorne said on Sky. But yeah, before I go, I want to make one more comment about Gary Neville. Gary Neville, I can't stand that guy. Not just because I think don't get me wrong, I think I'll say this about him. The one positive thing I'll say is that he's a very, very good football pundit. I don't care for his kind of, what can I call it? Marxist political opinions. I don't care for his kind of like trying to strong arm anti-Tory, anti-conservative messages into every speech that he makes, or every kind of like public appearance he makes on television. But the one thing I really can't stand is the way, and I know he was a player in the height of the rivalry between Manchester United and Arsenal, but I really don't like the way that, and I don't know if anyone else noticed it, but I really don't like the way that he made it very, very obvious that he was supporting Newcastle, that he wanted Arsenal to lose. Because there was a moment where Newcastle had a chance around the 79th minute or something like that, and he was like, oh, like that, as if it was a team he was supporting. And this is the thing, Sky allow this kind of stuff. Sky allow like biasness of this kind of thing. Like I swear they're meant to be impartial in these football matches. It's just so annoying. Keep your opinions to yourself, Gary. That would be my message to you. I'm just watching they're just showing the highlights. We also had a handball shout at the end. I don't know if it was a handball, to be honest, because it looked like it was his arm wasn't in an unnatural position necessarily. I did feel the referee was shit in this game. Really bad. It seemed like he gave everything to Newcastle, even though a lot more of their players got booked, which doesn't really make sense. But yeah, it felt like he was very much like on the side of Newcastle, exactly like Gary Neville. So yeah. Right, I'm going to go now because I've been talking for too long. So I'll be back again actually previewing the Oxford United game. It'll be quite a short preview on the simulation. So yeah, until then, take care and stay safe.